loss, calories, macros, if it fits your macros, and carb cycling, and what you need to do to get into better shape and to start dropping body fat. So this originally came about because of a question I was asked by one of the girls I train up in Glasnevin, and I thought, I'll shoot a proper video for this and record it so you all get the answer, because I know it's something a few of you are struggling with. So basically, here's where we're starting. What we've got is someone who weighs 70 kilos. So that's your starting point. In pounds, that's 154 pounds. For most people, where you need to start calorie-wise for fat loss is about body weight in pounds, 154 by 12, which will give you your total daily calories, which is 1,851 in this case. Now, how you decide to set up your macronutrients are really up to you. So that is how you set up your proteins, your carbs, and your fats. The only thing I really want to see with people is that your protein intake is roughly equal to your body weight in pounds. In other words, you have someone who's 154 pounds, so they're eating about 154 grams of protein, 153 in this case, or 33% of their total calorie intake. Now, when you control for protein and you adjust carbohydrates and fat up or down, it should not have any effect on your body fat loss. The only effect it may have is that you may find it a little bit easier to stick to the nutrition plan with lower carbs because you'll have less blood sugar ups and downs, but you probably will struggle a little bit with training, so keeping an element of carbs in there is pretty necessary. And let's face it, 150 grams of carbs for a 70 kilo girl isn't a huge amount anyway. So in this instance, what we're targeting is 70 kilos of body weight. That means 1,800-ish calories, 153 grams of protein, 153 grams of carbs, and about 68 grams of fat. Okay, so that's like a target daily intake. When it comes to being like in shape and looking like, the start of a six-pack showing, tight toned muscles, then you look like you actually lift. For dudes, that's about 12 to 15%. And that's a legitimate, real 12 to 15% measured with somebody who's skilled with body fat calipers. That's not just a step on a scales, or let's just kind of look at a picture and say, I reckon I'm 12%. Okay, it's an actual 12 or 15%. So that's what we're working off for guys. For girls, it's usually 5 to 7% above that figure. So that means 17 to 22%. Girls will tend to carry a higher percentage body fat. It's an evolutionary thing. Even at the same visible leanness, so you put a guy and a girl together, if they both look about the same leanness, the girl will usually be 5 to 7% higher in body fat. So if you see numbers that are higher and you're a female, don't worry too much. It's just the way you're built. It doesn't say anything, and you can't compare it to how the guys come out. So when it comes to setting the body fat goals, here's what we're talking about. At a current body weight of 70 kilos and 27% body fat, you got a current lean body mass of 51.1 kilos. So that's what you've got now if you take away all the fat in your body, subcutaneous and subvisceral, or subcutaneous and visceral. You don't want to do that, because if you do, you'll die. Okay, so you do need a minimum threshold of body fat. For guys, that minimum threshold is like, about 4 to 5%. For girls, again, it's plus 5 to 7%. And that's bodybuilder lean on stage. That's 16 weeks of dieting with 0 slip-ups and 0 life training 7 to 10 times a week. Okay, for most people, that's not realistic, and it's not even a condition you could hold for long periods of time. So unless you're planning to step on stage, don't even think about being in the 9 to 12% body fat range as a female, because it's just silly and it is bad for your health. So let's get back on track. Currently in body mass then is 51.1 kilos. Your body weight at 22% body fat now, assuming you've lost no muscle or gained no muscle and dropped 5% body fat, becomes 65.5 kilos, which means the goal fat loss becomes around 4.5 kilos. So it's a pretty simple and straightforward way of calculating it. Because, look, we know muscle is more dense than fat and it takes up more space. And really, when you're trying to lose weight and when you're trying to tone up, what you're really trying to do is get rid of body fat. The scales can be an absolute pig to listen to in this sort of scenario, and it really isn't the way forwards. But at least now you kind of have some easy to measure tangible goal that you can go at over the next 12 weeks. If you take that over 12 weeks, then what you've got is, 0.37 or 0.4 kilos per week body fat drop. Again, that's not massively unrealistic, it's not massively undoable, but it just becomes a nice small consistent goal to aim for. It's about £1 a week or slightly less. So the next question then becomes, should I follow an if it fits your macros approach? Should I follow a carb cycling approach? What's the best way to do it? For me, the really easy, the really simple thing to do is just eat real food. If you're going to go and like follow some sort of if it fits your macros approach, you need to make sure 80 to 90% of the calories you're taking in are from good, clean sources. We're going to move on in a few minutes and talk about Project Reset, and that'll tell you a bit more about the clean sources. But for now, let's say 80 to 90% clean on if it fits your macros. Carb cycling is awesome, and it's a really good way of doing things if you plan ahead and if you can consistently do it. So essentially with carb cycling, what you're trying to do is to balance your energy inputs with your energy outputs. So you have high carbs on training days and you've little or no carbs on non-training days. Again, with this sort of stuff, you know, realistically, it shouldn't actually make a difference in fat loss, but what it will do is support training, and it might make it a little bit easier to stick to your nutrition plan. So the short and simple answer is use whichever style of dieting you think is going to work best for you, but as is the case now with this person, I know for a fact they've been trying to drop fat for a while and they have been successful, but they're just looking to step it up to the next level. So if you're at the stage where you're starting to plateau and when you need to step it up to the next level, what you cannot do anymore is stick about. And what I mean by that is if weight loss and fat loss becomes a serious top level #1 goal in your life and you're already in good shape and you've already been training hard, you need to put in extra effort to get there. And that extra effort is what we're going to talk about now when we talk about Project Reset. Project Reset is really just kind of a modified elimination diet. So what we've got is you're going to have 3 meals a day, a breakfast, lunch, and a dinner. You're going to have 2 meal replacement shakes each day. Okay, so between meals 1 and 2 and between meals 2 and 3. The whole idea with that is you're basically eating frequently, which should mean you're less hungry, which should mean it's easier for you to control your calories. Meal timing and meal frequency does not matter unless it helps you support and stick to your plan. Okay, so if you eat more frequently and stick to your plan easier, that is brilliant, but there's no metabolic benefit for it. So if you're happy eating 3 meals a day, awesome, just go with that. If you prefer 3 meals, 2 replacement shakes, and a post-workout shake, perfectly okay. Once you control for protein intake and total calorie intake, it does not matter. In the real world, okay, look, a marginal difference in studies may appear, but a 1% difference or a 5% difference on 0.5 of a kilo is what? Like it's 200 grams or it's 20 grams. You won't even know. You won't even see it on you, so don't worry about it. Pick whichever one you can stick to the easiest. So what you've got is 3 meals per day, 2 meal replacement shakes, and then on your training days, you've got a post-workout shake of protein and carbs. With these meals, and because we've got fat loss now today in this scenario as a high-level #1 priority, you're eating the same meal every day. Okay, you're eating the same meal for breakfast, for lunch, and for dinner. That means it's easier to set up, it's easier to cook and prepare in advance, and it removes all willpower, it removes all potential for fuck-ups because you know you've got to have 9 meals of a certain type over the next 3 days, 9 meals over the next 3 days, and then you got your cheat day on Sunday. So breakfast, lunch, and dinner are the same. If you get bored by food or if you think that's going to be too monotonous, then you need to question whether your top level goal really is fat loss. Okay, because you can for sure do it by changing meals, and you can for sure do it with like 3 different meals for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, but this is the easiest and quickest way there. Okay, it may not be for everyone, but in my opinion and in my experience, it's the quickest way to do it. So your meal composition is every meal has approximately 1 hand-sized portion of protein. For most people, that'll come out to 150 to 200 grams of meat. So girls tend to have smaller hands because their physical size is smaller, which means they get less food. Big guys tend to have bigger hands, which means they get more food. So these are just ranges we're looking at. So if you turn your hand over, look at your palm, close your thumb up to your body, everything from the tip of your big finger to the base of your palm, and about the same depth again, becomes your protein intake. And again, that's listed here: chicken, turkey, lean mince, pork chops, tuna, steak, white fish. From there, you're having a minimum handful of green veg. Okay, so a minimum of a big handful of spinach or a big handful of broccoli or something like that. Realistically, you can probably have unlimited green vegetables and still see great progress because they're mostly fiber and they're just full of really good quality nutrients. Then in each meal, you want to get a fist-sized portion of starchy carbs. So that's something like sweet potato, that's rice. Again, we've got it here. You can see it on the screen. Sweet potato, butternut squash, legumes, corns, carrots, parsnips, oats, rice, and quinoa. Okay, I sounded all Long Island there for a second. So basically, you've got every meal is, pretty similar. So again, look, apply common sense to the above table. Stick to white meat and lean meats where possible. Then have red meats on your cheat day, which we're going to talk about there in a second. And if there's a vegetable you like that's not included, then you're probably okay to have it once that vegetable isn't a double-decker bar. Okay, because that's not a vegetable. So the sample menu you're looking at is basically this. Breakfast, lunch, and dinner, you're having 150 to 200 grams of roasted chicken with chili, garlic, ginger, and coriander. You're going to have 50 grams of uncooked rice boiled up in water, and then 50 to 100 grams of steamed green beans with sea salt and a tiny knob of butter just to flavour it up a little bit. They are really big freaking meals. Okay, that doesn't sound like a lot of food, but when you put it on a plate in front of you and try and eat it, you will be full by the end of it. The preparation of the chicken is super simple. You just put it on a roasting dish or in a roasting tray and just lash some chili, garlic, ginger, and coriander on top of it. Bang it in the oven for however long you need to cook, and take it out and then put it in some lunch boxes and package it up for the next 3 days. So you got 9 meals to cook there. The next 3 days after that, days 4 to 6, you're going to have 150 to 200 grams of turkey mince, just wok fried, that should say, with some chili, garlic, coriander, and turmeric. Again, if you prefer other spices and herbs, feel free to throw them in. You're going to have 200 grams of sweet potato fries, and that's just like fried chopped sweet potatoes, oven roasted, onto a really, really hot baking tray with some coconut oil on it and a dash of paprika and spice and sea salt on top. And then some broccoli, spinach, and salad greens on the side as well. Again, super big meal, super easy to consume, and really bloody tasty. Okay, that's 6 days of food. Then on day 7, which is going to be your cheat day, that can be either Saturday or Sunday, whichever you prefer. What you're going to do is for the first half of the day, have any of the 2 above meals, but you remove the rice and you remove the sweet potato. So you're going to have meat and veg only. What you've got there then is you're basically eating for 12 hours of the day, really good quality, calorie shallow food that's very dense, so it'll keep you full. So when it does come time to eat, a little treat later on in the evening, you're less likely to binge and go over the top. Because if you think about it, if your cheat day becomes a day where you consume like 3,000 or 4,000 calories, you've completely eliminated the entire deficit you've created elsewhere in the week. So you're not really dieting anymore. You're just working your ass off for 6.5 days, so you don't get fat in 4 hours on a Saturday night. As an example, like a medium to large pizza and 4 pints is about 2,000 calories or more. So if that's like your cheat day on a Saturday night, that basically eats into all of your calories that you've removed elsewhere in the week. So having cheat days, like big cheat days like that, really aren't a sustainable way to go. You've got to have balance during the week, and you've got to have a little bit of what you fancy here and there, but you can't afford to go over the top, especially when your goal is a higher level of fat loss than a normal person. So remember, cheat day does not mean eat everything. Treat yourself to some food, enjoy it, and eat it slowly. If you feel ill or unwell after it, you've probably eaten too much. Finally, then we come on to the meal replacement shakes. These are just a really boss and easy way to get in good quality calories, to get in nutrient-dense food, and to make sure you're recovering well between workouts. All you're looking at is 25 to 50 grams of protein. Obviously, if you're a lighter girl, you need to be on the 25 gram end of things. If you're a heavy 100 kilo, 120 kilo hard training guy, you need to be on the heavier 50 gram side of things. A handful of red berries, a handful of spinach, juice a half a lime, 300 to 500 mils of water, depending on how thick you like it, and then a NutriBullet or some other way of blending it up, just to blitz it all into a big ass smoothie. Whatever you do, don't juice your veg and don't juice your fruits, because all you're doing then is removing the fiber and dumping a whole lot of sugar into your system. So look, like I said there, they're super easy to prepare, nutrient dense, low in calories, and they're going to keep you feeling very full, so you're less likely to snack on bad things. So really, if I was trying to sum up everything in this video, what I'd say is this. If your goal is a higher level than that of like normal people, and I'm doing the inverted comma bunny ears thing here, so if superior levels of leanness, if superior body fat loss is your goal, you have to put forth a superior effort. You have to step it up a level, and you have to go a little bit further than a normal person is prepared to go. And for me, the easiest way for you to do that is to have 3 meals a day, make them the exact same each time, have a couple of meal replacement shakes, stick to that for 6 days and a half day out of 7. Make sure you're strength training at least 3 days a week, and try to get 1 or 2 conditioning sessions in each week as well. So between 4 and 6 training sessions in total, at least 3 strength training sessions. Make sure you're sleeping 8 hours a night. Get good quality food in the right quantities. And when you really want to get very lean, you've got to watch the little details. Guys, hopefully that's helped. If there's any questions off the back of this, or if there's anything else you'd like me to discuss, please just let me know.